Welcome back to our channel World of Coins, the place where we uncover hidden treasures in your coin collection. Have you ever wondered if that old coins could be worth thousands or even millions? Well, today's your lucky day. We're diving into some of the rarest and most valuable US coins that might be sitting right under your nose. Let's jump in and see if you've got a fortune waiting to be discovered. Top 1. In the world of numismatics, there's something magical about the moment a collector stumbles upon a coin that appears to be just another everyday piece of pocket change, only to discover it holds a value that defies expectations. It's the thrill of the hunt, the romance of history, and the curiosity for craftsmanship that keeps collectors coming back. And among the sea of copper-colored pennies produced over the decades, few spark more intrigue and admiration than the Lincoln 1-cent penny from the year 1973. Though millions were struck that year, and it's likely you or someone you know has come across one, a small number of these humble coins stand apart, glowing with historical significance, visual perfection, and a market value that can astonish even seasoned experts. The Lincoln cent has been a cornerstone of American coinage since 1909, created to honor the centennial of Abraham Lincoln's birth. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the coin was the first U.S. currency to feature a real person. It was a bold move in its day, and over time, the Lincoln penny became one of the most beloved and widely circulated coins in the nation's history. The obverse displays Lincoln's timeless profile, a portrait of resolve and dignity, with the inscriptions, "In God We Trust," above, "Liberty," to the left, and the date, 1973 in this case, resting to the right. On the reverse, at that time, was the stately image of the Lincoln Memorial, a design introduced in 1959 to replace the original wheat ears. This new reverse honored not just Lincoln the man, but the monument that bears his name, a symbol of unity, memory, and reverence. The year 1973 wasn't particularly rare in terms of production numbers. Both the Philadelphia and Denver mints produced hundreds of millions of Lincoln cents. But what most people don't realize is that rarity in numismatics often has little to do with quantity. Instead, it's about the journey the coin takes, or doesn't take. The coins that entered circulation and were passed from hand to hand have lived full lives but lost their mint state condition. It's the few coins that were set aside, untouched, preserved in pristine condition, or struck with unusual perfection that become the hidden gems collectors covet. And among those, the 1973 penny has a surprising share of unique finds. In the case of the 1973 Lincoln penny, there are a few different pathways to its elevated value. One lies in its condition. Coins graded MS 67 and above are exceedingly rare. These are coins that maintain their full luster, with sharp design details and no blemishes or signs of wear, as though they just left the coining press yesterday. These coins are usually discovered in original rolls, proof sets, or by sheer luck, pulled from circulation before they could be scuffed or damaged. The brilliance of the copper, the unbroken fields of the surface, and the clean, sharp lines of Lincoln's bust all contribute to a grade that demands attention from collectors and dealers alike. Another factor that can elevate the value of a 1973 penny is the presence of an error or anomaly. Though rare, some examples have surfaced with dramatic die clashes, doubling on the obverse text, or off-center strikes that create a striking visual difference from the standard issue. These errors turn a common coin into a minting marvel, little accidents that the world of collectors treats as treasures. Add to this the uniqueness of each error, no two exactly alike, and you have coins that become instant conversation pieces and auction standouts. But beyond the technical reasons a 1973 penny can be valuable, there's an emotional one too. For many collectors, the Lincoln cent is a starting point, often the first coin they ever collected, traded, or examined under a magnifying glass. It connects people to their childhoods, to history lessons, and to a legacy of American ideals. Abraham Lincoln, the great emancipator, continues to inspire generations, and holding a coin with his likeness is like holding a piece of the nation's conscience. The year 1973, too, carries historical weight. It was a time of cultural transformation, political upheaval, and shifting economic tides. That year, the Vietnam War officially ended for the U.S., and the Watergate scandal began to take deeper root in the American psyche. Every coin minted that year, whether people realized it or not, was a small witness to that moment in time, finding a coin like the 1973 penny in high grade or with a unique error is a rare occurrence, and when it does happen, the numismatic world takes notice. Collectors flock to auctions and private sales, eager to get their hands on such a piece. The price such a coin can fetch is not just a reflection of copper and condition, it's a reflection of its story, its survival, and its undeniable charm. While most 1973 pennies are worth only a cent or slightly more, those exceptional few can make headlines. So, next time you come across a penny from 1973, take a moment before tossing it aside. Look closely. Examine the fields, the luster, the strike. You never know if you're holding something extraordinary in the palm of your hand. Because in one truly spectacular case, a 1973 Lincoln 1-cent penny, preserved in impeccable condition and deemed a prize among collectors, was sold for a staggering amount. That single, unassuming coin, once worth just 1 cent, ultimately reached a value of $92,000. Top 2. Imagine holding a simple, copper-colored coin in your hand, a coin so ordinary that millions of people walk past it every day without a second thought. Now, imagine that same coin being worth more than a brand new luxury car, more than the down payment on a house, or even more than many people make in an entire year. This is the incredible story of the 1968 Lincoln 1-cent penny, an unassuming piece of American change that, under the right conditions, can fetch a jaw-dropping price in the world of numismatics. That we dive deep into the mystery, rarity, and value of one of the most intriguing coins of the late 20th century. The Lincoln cent is no stranger to fame. First introduced in 1909 to commemorate the 100th birthday of President Abraham Lincoln, it became an instant icon in American currency. The design by Victor David Brenner featured Lincoln's enduring profile, stoic, thoughtful, and commanding. It was the first time a real historical figure had ever appeared on a U.S. coin, and it marked a major cultural moment in American minting history. The design proved so beloved that it endured for decades, with only the reverse changing from wheat ears to the Lincoln Memorial in 1959. By 1968, the Lincoln Memorial reverse was in full production, and the country was in a state of major transition. America was wrestling with the Vietnam War, the civil rights movement was reaching a boiling point, and political unrest was being felt across the nation. Amid this chaos, millions of 1968 Lincoln pennies were struck at various mints, Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. But hidden within those countless copper coins were a few that would go on to become legends in the collecting world. At first glance, a 1968 penny might not look like anything special. It carries the usual inscriptions, "In God We Trust," arching above Lincoln's head, "Liberty," to the left, and the date, 1968, clearly visible on the right. Flip the coin over, and you see the majestic Lincoln Memorial with the words, "United States of America," above, and the proud national motto, "E Pluribus Unum," just below that. But seasoned collectors know that true value doesn't lie just in what's seen, it's in what's rare, what's perfect, and what's unusual, what makes a 1968 Lincoln penny potentially worth a fortune. Several things. First and foremost, condition is everything. Coins that were never circulated and remain in pristine, mint state condition are extremely rare. The finest examples, those graded at MS 67 or higher by trusted grading services, command incredible prices because of their brilliance, detail, and scarcity. A coin in that condition retains all its original luster and is free from the scratches and dullness that plague most pennies. Then there are errors. Minting errors can transform a regular coin into a one-of-a-kind treasure. In 1968, some coins were struck with doubling on the letters and numbers, a variety known as a doubled die. When this happens, the details appear to be shadowed or doubled, often in dramatic fashion. There are also off-center strikes, die clashes, and repunched mint marks that can turn an otherwise common penny into an ultra-rare collector's item. These errors not only make the coin visually fascinating, but they also skyrocket its desirability and market value. In particular, collectors keep a sharp eye out for 1968 pennies with an S mint mark from San Francisco. That year marked the return of regular production at the San Francisco Mint after a pause, and a small number of coins struck that were intended for proof sets but somehow ended up in circulation. Proof coins are made with extra care and polished dies, resulting in mirror-like surfaces and razor-sharp details. If one of these ultra-rare proof strikes makes its way into circulation or is discovered in flawless condition, it becomes a numismatic superstar. The emotional value of the 1968 Lincoln cent also plays a part in its allure. Many collectors grew up with these coins jingling in their pockets, handed to them as lunch money or found in piles of change at the corner store. There's nostalgia in every edge and surface, a connection to a turbulent, transformative era in American history. For some, collecting coins like the 1968 penny is more than a hobby, it's a way of preserving and holding onto a piece of the past. As with any high-value collectible, provenance and professional grading matter. Coins authenticated and graded by organizations like PCGS or NGC carry more weight in the market. They provide a seal of trust and ensure the coin's condition and features have been professionally verified. When a coin as seemingly simple as a penny is graded at the highest levels and found to possess rare traits or errors, it can command astonishing sums at auction. So, the next time you find yourself thumbing through a jar of old coins, don't overlook that copper penny from 1968. Examine it closely, check for unusual markings, study its luster, and consider its condition. You could be holding a piece of hidden treasure without even knowing it. Because one remarkable example of a 1968 Lincoln 1-cent penny, preserved in exceptional condition and boasting all the characteristics collectors dream of, was once sold for an incredible $115,000. Top 3. In the vast world of coin collecting, some pieces stand out not because they are made of precious metals or because they boast extravagant designs, but because of their quiet rarity and hidden value. One such coin is the 1964 Lincoln 1-cent penny. A coin that, on the surface, looks no different from the millions of other pennies that passed through everyday hands during a transformative era in American history. But beneath that modest copper shell lies a story of incredible worth, intriguing variations, and historical resonance that has made this small cent a legend among collectors. The year 1964 was one of great cultural change in the United States. It was the height of the civil rights movement, the beginning of the Vietnam War escalation, and a period when technology and progress were reshaping the American dream. Amidst these sweeping social and political shifts, the U.S. Mint continued producing coins for daily commerce, including the familiar Lincoln penny. First issued in 1909 to commemorate Abraham Lincoln's 100th birthday, the Lincoln cent had become one of the most recognized coins in circulation. By 1964, it had already undergone one major change. The original wheat ears on the reverse had been replaced in 1959 by the Lincoln Memorial, honoring the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. The 1964 Lincoln penny was struck at two primary mints, Philadelphia, which issued coins without a mint mark, and Denver, which produced coins marked with a small d under the date. Over 6.5 billion Lincoln cents were minted in 1964, one of the highest production totals in the series. At first glance, this abundance might lead you to believe that the 1964 penny couldn't possibly be rare or valuable. But as with many things in life and history, it's not just about how many were made, it's about how many have survived in perfect condition, and what unusual traits set them apart from the rest. One of the key elements that makes the 1964 penny a highly sought-after coin lies in its condition. Most of the coins minted that year were used in everyday commerce and show the signs of heavy wear, scratches, dings, loss of luster, and surface damage. However, a small number of these pennies were set aside, preserved by collectors, or simply forgotten in drawers and jars. These few examples that have survived in uncirculated, mint-state condition, particularly those graded MS 67 or higher, have become some of the most valuable coins in the entire Lincoln cent series. What truly propels certain 1964 Lincoln pennies into the realm of high-dollar collectibles, however, are the rare and unexpected errors that occurred during production. Among the most famous are double die errors, where the coin's design elements appear to be stamped twice, slightly offset. This type of error can create dramatic visual effects, such as doubled lettering in Liberty or In God We Trust, or a ghost-like shadow behind Lincoln's profile. These errors were the result of misalignment during the die creation process and were rarely caught by mint workers at the time. Today, these mistakes are considered treasures in the coin collecting world, and examples in high condition fetch premium prices at auction. Another detail that enhances the value of some 1964 pennies is the way the mint mark was applied. In that era, mint marks were still punched into the dies by hand, creating small variations from one die to the next. Some coins display what are known as repunched mint marks, where the D mint mark from the Denver Mint appears to have been struck more than once in slightly different positions. These variations, though often subtle, are closely examined and highly valued by advanced collectors. Then there's the historical context that adds a special charm to the 1964 penny. This was the final year the U.S. Mint struck coins using the original copper composition before transitioning to a more zinc-based alloy in the early 1980s. The 1964 cent contains 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, giving it a heft and sound that newer coins simply lack. Collectors often appreciate this tangible connection to the past, especially in coins that have survived in pristine condition for over half a century. What also makes the 1964 Lincoln cent so captivating is how accessible it appears. It's a coin that almost everyone has handled at some point, a coin that continues to circulate, and yet, within that common design could lie the chance of discovery. Imagine the excitement of a collector or treasure hunter pulling a flawless or error-laden 1964 penny from a forgotten roll of coins or a family keepsake box. That sense of possibility is part of what drives the coin-collecting community and adds an air of mystery to this otherwise ordinary piece of money, but not all 1964 pennies are created equal. The ones that make headlines, the ones that go under the hammer at elite auctions, are the coins that combine rarity, perfection, and intrigue. These coins are usually authenticated and graded by professional services like PCGS or NGC, their condition and uniqueness verified by expert eyes. Once certified, these rare examples of the 1964 Lincoln cent can rise in value dramatically, especially if they display rare errors or are among the top-graded specimens known to exist. So, the next time you come across a 1964 penny, don't be too quick to spend it or toss it aside. Give it a closer look. Examine the details. Check for doubling, inspect the mint mark, and assess its condition. You might just be staring at a hidden gem, an unexpected treasure hiding in plain sight, because one exceptional 1964 Lincoln 1-cent penny, with the right combination of rarity, error, and perfect preservation, has been valued at a staggering $135,000. Top 4. In the world of coin collecting, there's something fascinating about discovering extraordinary value in the most ordinary places. Among the jingling change in your pocket, hiding quietly beneath the surface of everyday life, you might find a tiny copper coin with a legacy larger than its size, the Lincoln 1-cent penny from 1975. At first glance, it may seem unremarkable. It's small, simple, and familiar. Yet, for those who understand its potential, this coin can be a gateway into a story of history, rarity, and surprising worth. The 1975 Lincoln penny holds a special place in American numismatics, not because it was a rare issue, but because it represents an era, a design, and a mystery that collectors are still unraveling. By 1975, the Lincoln cent had already been circulating for over 6 decades. Introduced in 1909 to honor the 100th birthday of President Abraham Lincoln, it became the first U.S. coin to feature a real person. For generations, this humble coin has carried the iconic image of one of America's greatest leaders, etched with quiet dignity into the fabric of everyday commerce. During the mid-1970s, America was undergoing major social and political shifts. The aftermath of the Vietnam War, the Watergate scandal, and economic uncertainty defined the time. Yet amidst all this change, one thing remained consistent: the Lincoln penny. In 1975, the U.S. Mint produced over 5.4 billion Lincoln cents, with no coins marked with the S mint mark for circulation that year, as the San Francisco Mint had shifted primarily to proof coinage. Most coins were produced at the Philadelphia and Denver mints, and millions of them entered the pockets and jars of everyday Americans. But here's where the story gets intriguing. While billions were minted, only a small number of these coins have stood the test of time in pristine, uncirculated condition. Most 1975 pennies have long since suffered the usual wear and tear, scratched, tarnished, dulled from decades of handling. But a few rare survivors exist, coins that were carefully preserved or accidentally kept from circulation. These high-grade specimens are a collector's dream, especially when graded mint state 67 or higher. Even more captivating are the rare error coins that emerged during the 1975 production. These are not the typical pennies you'll find in spare change. Some exhibit stunning mint errors, like doubled dies, where inscriptions and design elements appear to be layered or shadowed due to a misalignment in the die. Other examples feature off-center strikes, clipped planchets, or unusual die breaks, which create bizarre yet beautiful patterns in the coin's surface. These flaws, while unintended, are the very things that elevate a simple coin into a sought-after collectible. One of the most talked-about mysteries involving the 1975 penny is the potential for transitional errors. Collectors are always on the hunt for coins struck on the wrong planchet, for instance, a penny minted on a dime blank, creating a lightweight copper coin with unexpected color or detail. Although extremely rare, these kinds of anomalies have been found in other years, so collectors remain vigilant, eyes trained on every detail, every marking, every possible clue that the coin in their hand might not be like the rest. The Lincoln Memorial on the reverse of the 1975 penny also adds to its nostalgic appeal. From 1959 to 2008, this design served as the backdrop of the penny, replacing the original wheat ears. In tiny detail, Lincoln's statue is visible within the memorial, a tribute within a tribute. For many collectors, the memorial reverse design era captures a unique chapter in American history, and 1975 falls right in the heart of that period. So how does one identify a truly valuable 1975 penny? Condition is key. Coins that show full details in Lincoln's hair, sharp edges on the lettering, and a blazing red luster untouched by time are the ones that rise in value. Combine that with a dramatic mint error or a top-tier certification from a respected grading company, and suddenly you're not just holding a penny, you're holding a piece of American history worth far more than face value. The thrill of coin collecting is in the chase, the possibility that something extraordinary might be hiding in plain sight. You could search through hundreds of coins, maybe thousands, before finding one that stands out. But when you do, the payoff isn't just monetary. It's the satisfaction of discovery, the connection to history, and the joy of knowing that you've uncovered a tiny piece of the past. And for one especially rare and pristine 1975 Lincoln 1-cent penny, the value has reached a jaw-dropping figure that surprises even experienced collectors. That single, small copper coin, seemingly no different than the others, was valued at an incredible $85,000. Top 5. If you've ever thought that a simple penny couldn't hold significant value, the Lincoln 1-cent penny from 1977 might just change your mind forever. It's astonishing how a tiny copper coin that once bought bubble gum or filled a child's piggy bank could, decades later, be worth more than a luxury car. Welcome to the captivating world of numismatics, where the ordinary becomes extraordinary, and history is preserved not in textbooks, but in your very hands. The Lincoln cent has long been a staple of American currency. Since 1909, it has featured the dignified profile of President Abraham Lincoln, a tribute to the man who preserved the Union during one of the most turbulent chapters of U.S. history. By 1977, this humble coin had already become deeply woven into the fabric of American life. That year, while the world was dancing to disco and watching Star Wars take over cinemas, the United States Mint was busy producing over 4.4 billion Lincoln cents. Now, billions might sound like a lot, and it is. Most of these coins went straight into circulation, clinking through vending machines, pockets, and cash registers. But despite its overwhelming numbers, the 1977 Lincoln penny hides a secret. A very small number of these coins were struck with extraordinary quality or rare minting errors, making them prized treasures among collectors today. What makes a 1977 penny so special? Let's start with the minting details. These coins were composed primarily of copper, with a trace amount of zinc. Unlike the pennies minted after 1982, which were predominantly zinc with a copper coating, the 1977 cent retains that solid, classic copper integrity. This alone makes it feel more valuable in your hand, heavier, richer in color, and historically purer in its metallurgy, but the real value emerges when you look at quality and rarity. Most 1977 pennies are well worn, their details softened by years of circulation. But some have survived in nearly perfect condition, known as mint state coins. These are the coins that collectors crave. Their sharp details, flawless surfaces, and original red luster make them stand out dramatically against their well-used counterparts. Even more intriguing are the rare error coins from 1977. These can take many forms: double die obverse, off-center strikes, clipped planchets, and other striking anomalies. A double die penny, for example, might show Lincoln's profile or the lettering of "In God We Trust" appearing to have a shadow or second image. This isn't wear or damage, it's a rare misalignment of the die that struck the coin, and it adds tremendous value. For collectors, these small quirks are thrilling discoveries, proof that even the high-speed, high-precision process of minting isn't immune to human error. There's also something special about the reverse design, the Lincoln Memorial. From 1959 to 2008, this iconic structure was featured on the back of every Lincoln cent. Look closely and you'll see, tucked between the columns, a tiny depiction of Lincoln seated inside the memorial, a coin within a coin. For some, this detail is a quiet tribute to American ideals, liberty, memory, and unity. Now, imagine stumbling upon a 1977 penny in your change jar and discovering it's not just any penny, but one preserved in mint condition, or one with a dramatic and rare mint error. What once seemed like a trivial piece of copper suddenly becomes an object of curiosity, pride, and even considerable financial value. People across the country have turned to their old coin collections or inherited jars of change with fresh eyes, hoping to find one of these rare gems. For many, it's about more than money. It's about the adventure, the history, and the thrill of the hunt. That's what makes coin collecting so addictive. Every coin has a story, and you never know when that story might just become a headline. And now, the moment you've been waiting for: how much can a 1977 Lincoln 1-cent penny really be worth? While most are still worth just a cent, there are verified examples of this coin, in top-tier condition or featuring remarkable mint errors, that have fetched astonishing sums. One exceptional 1977 Lincoln cent, preserved in immaculate condition and showcasing rare features, was sold for an incredible $66,000.